Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Today, we're looking at a work titled The Evolution Teachers.
And it's a synthesis of visual art and poetry by Dr. Kim S. MacKenzie from her book Homage to the Stars by Day and by Night. And Dr. MacKenzie is such an interesting figure to guide us here because she bridges gaps that usually stay separate. She's an artist, but she's also a philosopher with a PhD.
Which is a rare combination.
It is. And when I first looked at this image and read the poem she wrote to accompany it, it felt aesthetic. And the longer I stared at it, the more it stopped looking like art and started looking like a schematic.
Because it is a schematic, it functions as a map. Specifically, it's a guide to human potential viewed through the lens of cosmic evolution.
Wow.
The core argument here is that we aren't just biological accidents scraping by on a rock. We are students in a very large, very ancient classroom. And this image, it's the curriculum.
So that is our mission for this episode. We are going to decode this evolution tree. We're going to try and figure out who these teachers are. And this is the part that actually gave me goosebumps when I finally connected the dots. We are going to talk about the concept of future careers in the cosmos. Because the text implies we are training for a job promotion that is literally out of this world.
It's a bold concept. It reframes human suffering, in a way, as job training. But before we get to the destination, we have to understand the terrain. We really need to walk through the visual landscape Dr. MacKenzie has painted for us.
Right. So for everyone listening, I want to paint this picture because you really need to visualize this to understand the mechanism we're about to discuss. We're looking at a vertical image. It's striking. It's not wide. It's tall.
It draws the eye upward immediately. The whole composition is designed to pull you up, almost against gravity.
So let's start at the bottom, the foundation. It's dark. We're talking deep, swirling forest greens, almost black. It looks like the bottom of a lake or maybe fertile soil at midnight. It just feels heavy.
It does. It has a real density to it.
But if you look closely at the texture in that darkness, there's a form embedded there. It's not just random.
It's a face.
A sleeping face. The eyes are closed. It's not distressed, though. It looks peaceful, like it's dreaming.
And that sleeping face is the anchor. In almost every esoteric or philosophical tradition, the underground, or the bottom, represents the subconscious. It represents the foundational state of humanity, or the individual soul before it wakes up. It's grounded, it's heavy, it's the soil from which everything else must grow.
So you can't start at the top.
You can't. You have to start in the dark.
I think that's a really important distinction because so many people, myself included, want to skip the dark part. We want to go straight to the light.
Of course. But the image says you have to be rooted in that soil first.
That makes sense.
A tree without roots falls over in the first wind. That sleeping face is our biology, our history, our subconscious mind. It is the raw material.
And growing out of that dark sleeping face is the central structure. It's this vibrant, glowing green form. It reminds me of a tree trunk, but, and this is key, it's not rigid like an oak. It doesn't have bark. It's wavy. It's fluid.
Yes, fluid is the perfect word.
It looks like a plume of smoke or a rising current of energy.
That is the evolution tree. And that fluidity is intentional. So the path up isn't a ladder with distinct rungs. It's a rhythmic ascent.
It suggests that growth isn't a linear process of step 1, step 2, step 3.
Exactly. It's a flow state.
It rises up, getting brighter and brighter as it goes. Then we hit the canopy.
And the color palette shifts completely.
It really does. The color shifts from that rich green to a brilliant white and soft violet, and it's full of stars. The tree literally merges with the galaxy.
A cosmic canopy.
And right at the very top, there's a massive starburst.
Yeah.
But stuck in the branches, kind of suspended in this upper canopy, are these bubbles.
6 transparent spheres. They're distinct, yet they're clearly part of the whole structure.
And inside each bubble is a silhouette, a simple outline of a figurehead and shoulders. But where their forehead would be, the third eye area, there's a glowing star.
These are the evolution teachers.
And look at the feeling up there.
Yes. Note the lack of chaos. The bottom is dense and dark. The middle is moving and flowing. But the top is structured, crystalline, and serene. These figures are suspended in a state of absolute balance.
So the million-dollar question, who are they? Are we looking at angels, or are they just metaphors?
And I think the ambiguity is the point. The title calls them teachers. The placement suggests they're above our current state. But as we get into the text, we're going to see that the distinction between us and them is surprisingly thin.
Oh, interesting.
They might be future versions of us. They might be the blueprint of what we are becoming.
Well, let's crack the code then. The poem Dr. MacKenzie wrote isn't just a caption. You said it's the instruction manual for the map.
It is.
It tells us how to get from that sleeping face to the figure in the bubble.
And it starts with a promise, a really powerful one.
It does. The first line sets the stakes immediately. It says, "Support awaits for souls ready to climb the evolution tree."
Okay, let's stop there. I want to really dig into that first clause. That is a very, very hopeful opening. It suggests the universe is benevolent. It suggests we aren't alone in this. But there is a massive caveat immediately following it.
For souls ready.
Exactly. It doesn't say support awaits everyone. It doesn't say support awaits you if you're a nice person, or support awaits you if you just work hard. It says support is conditional on readiness. It's the key.
So what does it actually mean to be ready in this context? Because I feel like a lot of people are waiting for a sign. They're sitting on the couch waiting for the support to show up before they start climbing.
Yes.
But that's not how it works.
And that is the trap. The text implies the reverse mechanics. The readiness is the signal. Think of it like a radio frequency. The evolution teachers, these figures in the bubbles, they are broadcasting a signal. They are constantly transmitting this support. But if your internal radio is turned off, or if you're tuned to the comfort station or the complaint station, you can't hear the music. You have to turn the dial yourself. If you are perfectly content with the status quo, if you have no questions, no desire for something more, then you are, metaphorically speaking, still the sleeping face at the bottom of the image.
You're dormant.
You're dormant. There's nothing inherently bad about that. Seeds stay dormant for a long time, but you aren't climbing. The teachers in this model act as gatekeepers, or better yet, observers. They're scanning for the spike in the graph that indicates a soul is looking up.
It reminds me of that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Exactly that.
But this makes it sound less like magic and more like physics. The teacher was always there. The student just finally looked up.
It is physics. It's resonance. You cannot receive a transmission you aren't resonant with. The thirst, that aching, reaching feeling, is your soul beginning to vibrate at a new frequency. And that vibration, well, it attracts the support.
I really like the metaphor of the tree here versus, say, a ladder. A ladder is something you build. A ladder is artificial.
Yes. A tree is a living system. To climb the evolution tree implies you are participating in an organic process.
You're not conquering it.
No, you aren't conquering the tree. You are becoming part of its ecosystem. You are drawing nutrients from it, and you are growing with it. But, and here's where the rubber meets the road, climbing a tree is physically demanding. You can't carry a bunch of luggage up a tree. You need your hands free.
Which brings us to the next line. And honestly, this is the part where most people check out. This is the barrier to entry. This is why we stay asleep at the bottom.
Where it's required to let go of much of what we thought we know.
There's a very specific word in there, required, not suggested, not helpful, required.
It is the price of admission. It's non-negotiable.
In the information age, we prize accumulation. I want to add skills to my LinkedIn profile. I want to add facts to my brain. I want to read more books, listen to more podcasts.
Accumulate, accumulate, accumulate.
Yes. So why does this map say I have to dump things out? Why can't I just stack the new wisdom on top of the old wisdom?
Because the cup is full. To use the classic Zen concept, you cannot pour fresh tea into a cup that is already brimming over. This line speaks to a concept called epistemological humility.
Okay, break that down for us. Epistemology.
Epistemology is the study of knowledge, how we know what we know. The poem suggests that what we thought we know is actually a barrier. Our current certainties about who we are, about how the world works, about what is possible, are often constructed from limited data, societal conditioning, maybe trauma or fear.
So the things I'm absolutely sure of, my identity, my political views, my grudge against my neighbor, my belief that this is just how the world is, those might be the very things weighing me down.
Almost certainly. Think about the caterpillar and the butterfly. It's a cliche, I know, but biologically, it's horrifying. The caterpillar doesn't just sprout wings, it dissolves. Inside the chrysalis, it literally becomes soup, a slurry of imaginal cells. To evolve, you must lose your form.
Wow.
You cannot become the butterfly while desperately holding on to the identity of the caterpillar. You have to be willing to be soup for a while.
That's terrifying. That's the void. If I let go of who I think I am, who am I? If I let go of my beliefs, what do I stand on?
And that is the terror of the threshold. That is why most people stay at the bottom of the image. The sleeping face feels safe. It knows what it is. The climb requires you to hover in that space of, I don't know. It requires you to admit that your current map of reality might be wrong.
So unlearning is actually an active skill. It's not just forgetting, it's dismantling. It's looking at a belief and saying, does this serve the climb? No. Okay, I'm dropping it.
Yes, it's a conscious choice, and it creates the vacuum. If your hands are full of old rocks, you can't grab the next branch. Simple as that.
Okay, so let's say I'm brave enough to do the soup phase. I let go, I drop the rocks. What fills that space? The poem tells exactly what the replacement is.
It does.
It says, and introduce new ways to be, aligned with cosmic harmony.
And I want to flag the grammar there. It is so specific. It does not say, introduce new things to do.
New ways to be, that's a huge difference.
It's everything. We are obsessed with doing in the West. Productivity, checklists, KPIs, 5-year plans.
The grind.
The grind. This source material suggests that evolution is an ontological shift, a shift in the very nature of your existence, not just your schedule. Let's look at it through the lens of physics. Think of harmony in terms of resonance, constructive interference. To be aligned with cosmic harmony means to move from a state of friction to a state of flow.
So instead of fighting the current, you become the current.
Look at the art again. The lines of the tree are wave-like. They flow. There are no jagged, resistant angles. If you are constantly hitting walls in your life, constantly in conflict, constantly exhausted, that is friction. That is dissonance.
It's noise.
Exactly. The universe is a symphony. If everyone is playing their own chaotic, selfish tune, it's just noise. Evolution is learning to hear the larger rhythm and playing your part in it. Those figures in the bubbles, they look perfectly at rest. They aren't struggling to stay up there. They are resonant with their environment. They fit.
So the goal isn't to be the loudest instrument in the orchestra, it's to be the most tuned instrument.
Correct. And that tuning process is what we call alignment. When you are aligned, things just stop being so hard. You stop swimming upstream. You let the current of the evolution tree move through you.
Okay, so we have the readiness, which is the thirst. We have the unlearning, the letting go. And we have the goal, which is harmony. But how do we actually do it? Who is teaching the class? Because if I've just unlearned everything, I'm kind of a blank slate. And the next line throws a curveball that I think is crucial.
Through guidance from teachers within, promoting higher discipline.
Teachers within. The artwork shows these 6 figures and bubbles floating above the tree. That looks like external help. That looks like them helping us.
Right. And this is the crux of the mystical paradox. Are the teachers external beings, or are they higher aspects of our own consciousness? It is likely both. Think of the interface. Even if there is an external signal, a teacher broadcasting from the starlight trees, the receiver is inside you. You can only hear the guidance within the cathedral of your own mind. You can't hear it on the news. You can't hear it in a textbook. It's an internal broadcast.
So the teacher within might be the part of me that is capable of listening to the teacher above?
Exactly. Or, if you take the holographic view of the universe, the whole is contained in every part. As above, so below. Those figures in the bubbles might be representations of your own future potential, your higher self. When you connect with them, you aren't talking to a stranger. You are talking to the version of you that has already climbed the tree.
Wow. But notice the method they use. They don't just give you the answers. They don't hand you a cheat sheet. They promote higher discipline.
Yes, and discipline is a work word. That's not a magic wand word.
No, and I think a lot of people recoil at that word. It sounds like punishment. It sounds like schooled.
Sure, it has that connotation. But here, it's liberation. Evolution is labor.
Right.
The source material is very clear on this. It requires climbing, letting go. These are active processes.
So what does higher discipline mean?
It isn't just about waking up at 5 a.m. to go for a run. It's emotional discipline. It is mental discipline. It's the discipline to feel an impulse, say the impulse to get angry, to judge someone, to shut down, to panic, and choosing not to act on it. It's the discipline to keep your heart open when you desperately want to close it. You cannot merge with cosmic harmony if you are a slave to every reactive thought that pops into your head.
So it's the discipline of the pause.
The pause between the stimulus and the response. That is where the teacher within speaks. If you just react, you are on autopilot. You are the sleeping face. If you pause, listen, and choose a higher response, you are climbing.
That requires a serious mental framework. which leads to the methodology described in the poem. This is the how-to of the discipline, isn't it?
With knowledge that transcends our time, for merging of our heart with mind.
Merging of our heart with mind, this is the great synthesis.
This is perhaps the most important technical instruction in the whole map. It's the engine of the whole process.
And we usually think of those two as enemies. Follow your heart, not your head, or facts don't care about your feelings. We're taught to split them.
We categorize people. We have people who are logical and people who are emotional.
And that split is the source of almost all human pathology. Think about it. Intellect without heart. What is that? That's technology without ethics. It's efficient, but it's not alive.
And the other way around. Heart without mind.
That's chaotic. It's reactive. It's the mob. It's ungrounded sentimentality that falls apart under pressure. It's a boat without a rudder, just tossed around by the waves.
So the evolution teachers are trying to get us to get those two to shake hands.
More than shake hands, fuse them to become a singular operating system.
Yeah.
Look at the figures in the bubbles again. They have a star, a light right in the center of their heads. That represents the illuminated mind, the clarity, the vision. But they are encased in these soft, round, organic bubbles, symbols of the heart, the womb, the feminine aspect of containment and care.
So it's the brilliant mind held safely within the compassionate heart.
That is the definition of wisdom. Knowledge is just data. Wisdom is knowledge applied with love.
And the text says this knowledge transcends our time.
Which means this isn't about learning the latest TikTok algorithm or what's happening in the stock market.
No. This refers to eternal truths. Principles that were true 10,000 years ago in ancient Egypt and will be true 10,000 years from now on Mars. Love your neighbor as yourself is timeless. Action and reaction is timeless. The law of cause and effect. These are the big structural laws of the universe.
It makes current problems feel a little smaller, doesn't it?
It provides perspective. It pulls the camera back from the microscopic drama of now to the telescopic view of forever.
And that perspective, I think, is a kind of comfort.
Which leads us to the most comforting part of the poem, in my opinion. Because all this talk of discipline and letting go is hard, it's scary. We need a safety net.
Yes, this next part is like a warm blanket, and most importantly provides a stabilizing goodness tide.
A stabilizing goodness tide. That is such a rich phrase. Let's just sit with that for a second.
A tide isn't a trickle. A tide is immense. You can't stop a tide.
Correct. A tide is a gravitational force. It is rhythmic, it's reliable, and it's powerful. It happens whether you believe in it or not. And Dr. MacKenzie describes this tide as goodness.
This is interesting because we often think of goodness as a moral choice that humans make. Like, I'm going to be good today.
An act of will.
Yeah, but this makes it sound like goodness is a fundamental force of nature, like gravity or electromagnetism.
That is a profound insight. The source materials is suggesting that the fundamental structure of the universe is benevolent. It's good. And this goodness provides stability.
Which is crucial, right? Because remember, we just spent all that time talking about the void of unlearning. If you let go of the branch you're holding, you feel like you're falling.
Exactly. When you let go of the old, you enter a kind of free fall. That is terrifying. That is the dark night of the soul that so many mystics talk about. But this line assures us that we aren't falling into nothingness. We are falling into a goodness tide. It catches us, it stabilizes us, it buoys us up.
And it moves us. Read the next line.
That draws us forth magnetically.
Magnetism. Attraction. We aren't just pushing ourselves up the tree with brute force. We are being pulled.
Like iron filings to a magnet.
It changes the whole dynamic of effort. Pushing is exhausting. Being pulled is. Well, it still requires effort to not resist, but the energy is coming from the destination, not from you.
Yes. Evolution isn't just a push from below, the classic survival of the fittest. It's a pull from above, the attraction to the light, drawing our consciousness upward.
So when you feel that pull, that fascination with a new topic, that sudden urge to create something, that desire to forgive someone even though they don't deserve it.
That is the signal, that is the goodness tide trying to move you to the next branch.
And where is it pulling us? Where is home?
The purpose of all this training.
To train on high with starlight trees.
Let's focus on that one word, to train.
Not to rest, not to sleep, not to retire, to train.
That has huge implications. It suggests that everything we're doing here, the unlearning, the discipline, the merging of heart and mind, is essentially prep school.
We are in the kindergarten of the cosmos.
And we are graduating to university, to train on high with starlight trees.
Let's look at the top of the image again. The green canopy turns into starlight.
It evokes an image of a structure made of light. If the green tree is organic evolution on Earth, DNA, biology, cells, the starlight tree is cosmic evolution. It suggests a network of connection that spans the universe, a neural network of light.
Wow. So what are we training for? If we are souls ready and we climb the tree and we get to the top, what's the job description? What do we do there?
Well, the source doesn't explicitly list the duties, but we can extrapolate from the title of the piece itself, The Evolution Teachers.
Oh.
We become the teachers. It is the logical progression. The student becomes the master. The climber becomes the guide. Perhaps the future career of humanity, once we have merged heart and mind, is to become the stabilizing goodness tide for others.
To become the figures in the bubbles for the next generation of soul. That is awe-inspiring. It completely reframes the struggle. To think that our struggles right now, learning patience, dealing with loss, overcoming fear, are actually job training.
You're building the resume.
We're building the resume for a position in the stars.
It gives meaning to suffering. We aren't suffering meaninglessly. We are being tempered. We are developing the capacity to hold that star in our minds while keeping the bubble of the heart intact. You can't be a guide if you haven't walked the path. You can't help someone else climb if you haven't climbed yourself.
And maybe tending the starlight trees means we get to help maintain the cosmic harmony. We get to be the gardeners of the galaxy.
It's a beautiful thought. It aligns with the idea of service. The figures in the bubbles aren't ruling. They aren't kings sitting on thrones demanding worship. They are radiating. They are transmitting support. They are serving the tree. That is a career worth striving for.
It really is. It shifts the whole goal of life from just survival of the fittest to ascension of the wisest.
And the most loving. Remember, heart and mind must merge. You cannot ascend with intellect alone. It has to be both.
So let's try to synthesize this whole picture. We've covered a lot of ground today. This map it's incredibly dense.
We have. It's a comprehensive journey from the soil to the stars.
It's a magnificent picture, and it's set against this backdrop of what the source calls a magnificent universe. Dr. MacKenzie's work really emphasizes that the universe isn't a cold, dead, random place.
Not at all.
It's alive, it's intelligent, and it's rooting for us.
It is a benevolent universe. It provides the tree, it provides the teachers, it provides the tide. All we have to do is be souls ready.
Talking about this makes me feel lighter. It makes the daily grind feel less like a cage and more like a gym.
A gym, I love that.
Yeah.
Every challenge is an opportunity to practice the higher discipline. Every moment of confusion is an opportunity to let go and make space for new wisdom. The starlight trees are waiting.
And the support is there, but you have to send the signal. You have to be ready.
Keep reaching.
Keep climbing. And thanks for taking this deep dive with us. We'll see you in the canopy.